Bombshell reports dropped today inside the Trump administration cabinet meeting. That's our top story. I'm Vanessa Broussard and you're watching Spin Room. Thanks for joining us. From a rigged 2020 election, spiked autism in children and border security, we're covering it all today. First, the president says the average American is seeing tax cuts. Good news for everyone. Here's more.
President Xi would like me to come to China. It's a very important relationship. As you know, we're taking a lot of money in from China because of the tariffs and the different things, and it's a very important relationship. We're going to get along good with China. I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students, or we're going to allow their students to come in. We're going to allow, it's very important, 600,000 students. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China. But it's a different relationship that we have now with China. It's a much better relationship economically than it was before. With Biden, boy, what he allowed that, I mean, they just took him to the cleaners. You know, last month in a landmark achievement, I also proudly signed the largest working class tax cuts in American history. So the bill that, I'm not going to use the term great, big, beautiful, that was good for getting it approved, but it's not good for explaining to people what it's all about. It's a massive tax cut for the middle class. It's a massive tax cut for jobs. And it's, I mean, think of it, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. So seniors, I don't know how you can vote for anybody else. And, you know, just think of that, and no tax on overtime. So you work overtime, you don't have to pay tax on overtime. That's good.
Seniors, I don't know how you can vote for anyone else. Let's dig deeper into that meeting today. We go to Allison Steinberg live in D.C. Allison, thanks for being here. Big takeaways from today's meeting. What can you tell us?
Yeah, it was a great cabinet meeting today, Vanessa. Lots covered, of course, with everyone there. And I just watched a clip, actually, before coming on with you, that the president reminded us all that these cabinet meetings never used to happen, much less were they were never made public for all to watch and see. I mean, this cabinet meeting lasted over 3 hours today, and every single minute of it was publicly broadcasted and streamed out to the country to watch, so you can see what is going on within this government. They've dubbed themselves as the most transparent government in history, and I truly believe it. I mean, this is amazing stuff. You never got to hear these conversations that are being had as just, you know, an American citizen. This was typically top level, high profile conversations that were kept behind closed doors, but that is not the case anymore. So that's really cool to see and know that our president wants to make everything so transparent for us and that we can hear these conversations that are happening internally. But to your point, Vanessa, the big, beautiful bill created the largest tax cuts in history, and Trump highlighted that now the average family of four is going to save about $10,000 more take home a year. So that is huge. Lots of great incentives happening for us financially here in America. Obviously, the tariffs have been hugely successful, bringing in billions back into the country that we were getting the short end of the stick on for so long. Wages for blue-collar workers are raising at the fastest rate in 60 years. Inflation is virtually down to nothing. Groceries are down. Energy is down. Factories are booming. So we are doing a lot better than we were a matter of months ago, Vanessa, obviously under the Biden regime. As we know, the former president, if you want to call him that, was asleep at the wheel most of the time, and now we have a president who actually cares about our country and cares about its people and is working tirelessly to deliver on all of his promises, and I think he's doing just that. Another one of those issues being crime, which, as we know, this has been a huge topic of discussion. He's been working hard to get the district cleaned up here. He's been doing a fantastic job. I actually just saw a big group of National Guard walking by here as they have been patrolling the city to keep everyone safe here. And it's really working out incredibly well. In fact, I think President Trump mentioned that, you know, these crime reforms that are happening here in the city are now leading to other cities now looking at being cleaned up. Of course, those Democrat governors are largely opposed to his efforts, but he's doing great work nonetheless. Let's take a listen to this clip from President Trump on Democrat-run cities and cashless bail. Take a listen.
Make this like friendly, but the places we're talking about happen to be virtually all Democrat-run. Now, take a look at your 25 places that are most troubled. everyone, except maybe one, and it's way back in number 24 or 25, but essentially 25 out of 25 are run by Democrats, and cashless bail was a disaster. When they did that, and I believe it was instituted first in New York, but when they did cashless bail, that was a tragedy for this, because that's when it really started getting bad. When somebody kills somebody, you don't say you can come out, you don't have to put up anything. You put that person in jail and you find out whether or not it's true, but you don't give cashless bail with a promise to come back in a couple of months. We'll start talking to you, because they go out and they kill other people, and you can't do that. The cashless bail has been, it's just a woke thing. It's got to stop. You see that, Christy, better than anybody. It's got to stop. It causes unbelievable, and we're doing that. We're stopping it in D.C.
So this is obviously critical. We have to get rid of the cashless bail, because that's what allows these criminals to run rampant among these liberal cities, and that is stopping now. In fact, shockingly, I saw actually just before coming on with you, Vanessa, that New York Governor Kathy Hochul has now done a total 180 and is now demanding judges stop releasing these dangerous criminals from jail back on the streets. So I guess President Trump's efforts are working, though we've seen a lot of pushback from Democrat governors. We now have Governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, coming forward and saying this. So maybe his efforts are finally working, and the Democrats may be coming to their senses. I'm not sure, but that still is yet to be seen from the rest. But it's a work in progress, certainly.
Yeah, we know that some may, but others like Governor Newsom are not coming to their senses. But that's another topic for another day. Let's stay on this topic, though, because cashless bail, I talked about this yesterday, Allison, on the show here, once President Trump signed that executive order. And in my career of covering court news and going to docket calls, I saw weekly repeat offenders who were just given probation and then headed back to the streets. And so they would walk past me in the courthouse out into the public again, and they would return months later because they were repeat offenders. And so this is an effort to keep those criminals off the streets. They're just getting a slap on the hand and keeping them in jail where they belong, because letting them commit crimes and then coming in front of a judge or, trying to do cashless bail and then going back onto the streets, they don't learn their lesson. So this is an effort to clean up our neighborhoods.
Yeah, it really is. And it's long overdue, right? Because so many of these Democrat-run cities have allowed this to continue on for so long, and it's just totally unnecessary. These criminals need to be punished. They absolutely should not be allowed back out onto the streets. And things are really taking a turn here as far as the allotment for these people to run free around the city. I mean, the Trump administration is taking a firm stance against this. That is starting right here in D.C., where we're now on our 13th day in a row without a single homicide. So thank goodness. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, but we need this to happen in every single blue city and state. It is ridiculous that it's been allowed to go on for so long. We've seen a rampant uptick in crime since all of these radical left policies were enacted. And it's very sad. Innocent people are getting hurt, and they absolutely shouldn't be. And that ends now. In fact, I heard Trump say in his cabinet meeting today that if someone now kills anyone here in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol, they will the DOJ will be seeking the death penalty for that person. So, these criminals aren't going to get away with their crimes much longer. And I'm really hoping that what's happening in D.C. here is setting the precedent for all other blue cities and states. This has got to stop. And I think it's stopping here pretty soon, Vanessa.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll continue to monitor that. I know Chicago has been a big focal point for President Trump as maybe possibly stop number 2 for the feds to come in our military as well. So we'll see what happens there. Huge news today also coming out of the briefing, the meeting there. Allison, I know this is great for us here at Lindell TV and Mike Lindell seeing this as well regarding the 2020 election, and Tulsi Gabbard speaking about that. What can you tell us there?
Yes, this was an absolute bombshell today. Tulsi Gabbard allegedly found bags of information, burn bags, pertaining to the 2020 stolen election. I'll let her tell you. It'll be better than hearing it from me. Let's take a listen to that clip from Tulsi Gabbard.
And you've also found many bags of information. I think they call them burn bags. They're supposed to be burned and they didn't get burned, having to do with how corrupt the 2020 election was. And when will that all come out?
Mr. President, I will be the first to brief you once we have that information collected. But you're right, we are finding documents literally tucked away in the back of safes in random offices, in these bags and in other areas, which again speaks to the intent of those who are trying to hide the truth from the American people and trying to cover up the politicization that was led by people like John Brennan and James Clapper and others that have caused really immeasurable harm to the American people and to our country.
Great job. Thank you. We look forward.
Amazing. So this is, again, another bombshell pertaining to the 2020 stolen election, which I'd like to remind everyone, any one of us who formerly said that there was some tampering done there, some stealing done there, were very quick to be dubbed conspiracy theorists, election deniers by the radical left. Now it seems the truth is coming to light, and it turns out we were actually right all along. So I'm very eager to see what Tulsi presents us with. Obviously, she had a massive bombshell for us regarding the Russia hoax. Now they're looking into the 2020 stolen election, and this is incredible news for us here, especially at Lindell TV, thanks to our fearless leader, Mike Lindell, who's been on the forefront of exposing this for years now. So this is really big, and I'm very, very excited to see what comes of it.
Yes, love to hear it. I was hoping to hear more about the 2020 election today. We did, as we just heard. But you know what? I hate to be, the bearer of bad news here, but we heard this from Tulsi at the previous cabinet meeting. And then we heard this from Tulsi again today. President Trump specifically asked her, when are we going to get this report? Again, this is the second time in a cabinet meeting he's asked her. So nothing against Tulsi. She's doing a wonderful job, so I don't mean it that way. But we're waiting. And President Trump mentioned that today. The American people want to know, when is this report going to be done? And that's when she told him, you'll be the first to know. So sooner than later, hopefully, we know that the evidence is there. But think about it, Allison, burn bags. These are documents that were stored away, hidden, that they forgot to burn. What kind of, one, it's wrong, and two, what kind of leadership were we, under for them to hide this stuff and then forget to discard it? I mean, it makes you wonder if these people even had a brain the last 4 years.
The forgetting about it is almost worse than the horrific act itself, right? I mean, the fact that they couldn't even remember to get rid of the evidence is kind of laughable, but good for us, I guess. Now we have hardcore evidence that it was stolen and we will all be vindicated. I just want to see accountability here. And to your point, Vanessa, you said Tulsi did mention this at a previous cabinet meeting, which is true. She did. Still hasn't given us a date on when we can expect this to all be delivered to us yet, but I am hopeful. I mean, she did really come through on the Russia hoax situation, so I don't think she's all talk, so to speak. I think she actually is a woman of her word, and I think she is taking all of the necessary steps to ensure that all the information gets out there. I know she has a loaded job and no shortage of work to get done, so I think we can't expect to see it, but hopefully sooner rather than later, right? The midterms are just around the corner. We know these corrupt Democrats cheat at all given opportunities, so I think the sooner we can expose this and make some arrests, the better for all of us.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just with President Trump. She's doing a great job. It's just I want answers yesterday. So we'll see when that comes in. And of course, everyone can follow us here on Lindell TV because we will have that wall to wall all day long the minute that happens. President Trump also, not today, but in the last couple of weeks, saying more on election integrity is to be coming out soon. So we're just sitting and waiting. And when that does, we'll bring everyone the latest on that. All right, Allison, thanks so much for your report today. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
The president also speaking today about the Republicans picking up momentum Let's bring in Jim Paff with the Conservative Caucus. Jim, always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for joining us. The president today saying the Republican Party is picking up registered voters. He says the Dems are losing voters. Good news there. Before we get your reaction, let's hear from the president.
We're putting America first, and we're going to be putting the America worker first. And, you know, the Republican Party has picked up 4 million new people. 4 million. The Democrats have lost 2.5 million. Other than that, they're extremely happy. No, they're very depressed. They're very depressed.
That's a big swing, Jim. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is only in the states that report partisan registration. In other words, there are a decent amount of states, somewhere over a dozen, that don't show, you know, which party someone's registering as. So it could be far more voters than even what he's talking about. You know, right now there is, candidly, a lot of energy amongst Democrats, that base of Democrats that really is out acting in an angry manner and in an absurd manner in so many ways. So you always got to keep your eye out going into 2026, recognizing there is energy on the other side. What this shows, though, is that energy may not have anywhere near the effect that it has had in recent years, recent campaign seasons, where Democrat energy has overcome some Republican advantages in terms of the polls and where the American people stood. This could be potentially kind of that perfect storm where not only is Donald Trump doing, by and large, what the American people want and focusing on the important things the American people are most focused on, but we just may have a massive registration advantage that would allow us to expand majorities in the House. And I predict we will definitely see Republicans add seats in the Senate, no matter what happens. Just the numbers are just working against Democrats, particularly now that we're seeing a poll in Ohio showing that that Sherrod Brown's attempt to come back is just not going to work out. So all the advantages are on the Republican side right now, and this is incredibly encouraging news.
It is. We just have to make sure, you know, I fear, Jim, that with Trump not on the ballot in 2026 or moving forward, that the Republicans, even though we are seeing a huge shift in registered voters, and then, you know, if you look at Texas with the redistricting maps, will these people get out to vote? That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the real issue always. And that's why I point to the energy on the Democrat side. Democrats are going to come out and vote, folks. They're just, you know, mad as all get out. They're madder than a hornet right now. But Republicans are in a positive mood. The one thing that is happening now, too, that'll be different than the last midterm election when Donald Trump was president the first time in 2018, is that Donald Trump was still in the midst of a huge onslaught of the entire government and media establishment coming against him. We were seeing at that time the beginnings of the censorship industrial complex, which muted the voices of conservatives online. But that right now, Donald Trump is in a very positive place. He's talking about good things. The one thing that would kill turnout is if Mike Johnson's upcoming reconciliation bill, they're going to do 2 more here in the fall and next spring. If those do not perform something dramatically good, that could depress turnout. And again, if Republicans in general just keep doing the things they are in Congress, like I've said for all year long, the weak part of the Trump agenda is Republicans in Congress. Republicans in Congress are the ones who could snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. But if they do that poorly, it'll be their fault. Right now, the jaws of victory, by the numbers and by various things that we're seeing even in polling, are showing that Republicans are in a good place to make at least some advance in next year's election. Democrats, though, are doing a whole lot to make the American people dislike them and distrust them as well. So we wait with bated breath as we go into 2026, but I think Republicans generally have the advantage right now.
Yeah, we have the momentum. We just need to keep it. And Congress has been out of session all of August. They reconvene on Tuesday. So let's hope they get some work done because the American people are demanding it and wanting that. So to wrap up today's meeting, however, that was a lot. Again, Allison mentioned it. It was over 3 hours of great takeaways. So we expect to see more answers coming from the Republicans here in the coming weeks. Let's talk about, this is really trending online right now. The 600,000 Chinese students, part of a trade deal to come to our universities here. I've been looking at social media and a lot of people are not happy about it. Let's look at President Trump making this announcement.
President Xi would like me to come to China. It's a very important relationship. As you know, we're taking a lot of money in from China because of the tariffs and the different things, and it's a very important relationship. We're going to get along good with China. I hear so many stories about we're not going to allow their students, or we're going to allow their students to come in. We're going to allow, it's very important, 600,000 students. It's very important. But we're going to get along with China. But it's a different relationship that we have now with China. It's a much better relationship economically than it was before. With Biden, boy, what he allowed that, I mean, they just took him to the cleaners, you know.
Jim, what's that mean for our universities?
Well, before I get to that, the first thing it means is Donald Trump's working the deal right now. Okay, so that's why he's talking like this with the students. I will say this, I'm not supportive of that, I personally, and you are right, social media is just aghast about bringing in 600,000 new Chinese students. At this stage, in my estimation, that's an unwise thing to do. If Donald Trump were able in the future to make a deal with China and get things straightened out in our trade relationship, and maybe also have some broader diplomatic breakthroughs that go beyond merely the economic, then maybe sometime in the future we could take a look at seeing Chinese students come back. As it is right now, China has set themselves up as a long-term mortal enemy. Now, they're not ready to run to war with us right now or anything like that, but their track is, if they can do it, is to destroy our economy. The greatest way for them to do that is for us to defeat ourselves within. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one issue trying to throw Donald Trump under the bus. I don't think anyone should do that. I do think people should question it. But the most important thing is to put China in its place, which I do believe the president is also willing to do. And what I read into that when I saw it is that he's right at the edge of those negotiations. The student issue has come up. He very well may give that to them, and I'm not going to be happy about it if he does. But also I think he feels like they're right at the end of the negotiation structure, and he's not going to throw any time bombs into it until he can get it done. I have general confidence that Donald Trump will always do the right thing, but he also will make the deal. So I'm really torn about that.
I am too, and so we'll really have to wait and see what comes about that. Another one that people are talking about is the burning of the American flag. The president signing an executive order against burning the American flag if it entices violence. You're looking at video right here, Jim. This is from yesterday. A man was arrested outside the White House just minutes after that executive order was signed for burning the American flag. He was asking the law enforcement officers there why he was being arrested. This one, you have to kind of walk a fine line, Jim, because it's a First Amendment right? Freedom of speech to do that if you wish. But I think the president is saying if it entices violence, because a lot of times we see the burning of American flags during protests and it gets people wired and hyped up. And the next thing you know, they're, jumping on patrol cars. Is this what that executive order really looks to do in this type of situation, is get those people who entice violence with burning the flag?
Yeah, the whole incitement to violence thing is very clearly written in the executive order. I think that's still kind of a legal fine line on the First Amendment issue, but there are some very good reasons to make a firm stand on this. One is this: if anyone is here legally or illegally, they should be immediately deported if they're going to burn the American flag. I think that that's something that Marco Rubio and his team over at state have the authority to initiate. And I would absolutely do that in every case related to that. If you're here even legally and you feel like you want to protest against this country on our own soil, sorry, you're gone. If you're inciting real violence, the one example, I was asked about this earlier on another program. I gave this example. If you had an Antifa rally with Antifa members with masks on their face, and they're already pushing and shoving people like Antifa protests typically do, and really going after people, and you're burning flags, I might be willing to take a look at that circumstance and say, okay, something could be done. But I will say this: back when the Supreme Court decision supporting the burning of the flag came out, which a lot of people need to remember was authored by Antonin Scalia, I took a lot of flack from friends and publicly by saying I agreed with the opinion, and I still agree with it today. I'm not concerned about someone walking up on a sidewalk and just burning a flag in protest. I don't think that really harms the country. It's offensive. It's crude. It's stupid. It is insane, in my opinion. But I think I can let that pass. We have fundamental problems with our liberties that need to clearly be fixed when it comes to the censorship industrial complex, the things that Tulsi Gabbard is talking about and that she's doing so well. And I agree with your earlier assessment that I heard. She's doing a fantastic job. We want to see the things still come out. I trust her, by the way, more than other people who are heading up the other agencies, interestingly, to actually get it out. She's been very good about that. She's a woman of great character. And I disagree with her politically on a few things, but she's been fantastic. She's really standing with the president. Those are the things that are going to make the most fundamental difference in the long run. But I do see Donald Trump's desire here to just make sure people know we want to stand for our own country again, and we need to push back against those internally who want to put us down. I don't think we should tolerate that culturally. There are some areas legally where we shouldn't either.
Yeah, you're right. And it's just, it's one of those things, Jim, and in my opinion, where a lot of people's emotions are getting involved, and I get it because I respect Old Glory. I think the American flag is just a beautiful representation of our country to wave gorgeously all over the country, outside your homes, wherever you can, in classrooms. However, I don't think people should burn down flags. I don't think people should kneel for the flag. It's rude, it's disrespectful, and not only to our military, but to our country. The list goes on, but you have to separate your feelings from what's in the Constitution, what's our rights. And so that's hard. I get it. I'm the same way. But the executive order clearly states if it entices violence, which is a step forward, and it's great. We need that because, again, we see it all the time when protests are going on. But I'm with you. If you don't like America, get out. We know there's exits north, east, south, and west. A big border on each side of our country. The door is always open. Closed to come in, but open to get out. All right, let's talk about another big one that dropped last night. Lisa Cook fired. The news broke. Mortgage fraud allegations. Your reaction to that?
It really seems to me that the president has absolute authority to do this. He seems to have the authority to undertake such a removal with cause. And there's more and more information coming out that is making it very clear she really did lie on these documents. Now, someone might say, well, I mean, come on, it's just a couple mortgages and she saved a little. Maybe you would think that for your friend across the street. And I still believe that that's fraudulent and you shouldn't be doing that. But nonetheless, maybe your friend across the street, it doesn't matter. When you have people on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, the one organization which has the most influence on what the housing market and mortgage industry does, you cannot even allow a tiny slip like this. And it's so obvious. She even signed an affidavit saying that she was telling the truth. I don't think we want liars sitting on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. I think she seems, by the evidence that I've looked at, to be absolutely guilty of this crime, and it is a crime in some states. And I think that you've got to extract these people from any fiduciary responsibility in any area of government. And so you would potentially have an ethics violation in Congress, and you could have a congressman kicked out for something like this. I think it's a very similar standard. I think Donald Trump was right to take the action.
I think he was too, and I think this is just the beginning of more mortgage fraud situations, I guess you could say, because, we've been following the allegations with Adam Schiff, with Letitia James, with an Arizona senator. There's just many people who the Trump administration is investigating for mortgage fraud allegations, and I believe this firing of Lisa Cook is just the beginning. So we'll continue to watch that too and follow it here because we can't do it. We shouldn't do it, and so our leaders shouldn't do it either. And, the hopes that they will get away with it. And the Trump administration is saying, no, you're not going to get away with it. And that was a big proof of that just last night. All right, Jim, before we close up, this one's a fun one. I'm a big fan of Snoop Dogg. He has pretty much kept quiet in the political world, but he goes to a Disney movie, he says, with his grandson, just trying to eat his popcorn and have a day away with his grandson. And they see a gay couple. One pregnant, he says, in this Disney movie. So he goes on a podcast to talk about it. And again, this is coming from Snoop Dogg, who is a very famous rapper from the 90s. People love him. People continue to follow him. So let's take a listen to what he had to say about this experience he had with a Disney movie.
I took my grandson to see what was the movie with Buzz Lightyear?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz, the Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
With Keke Palmer is in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said she had a baby. They both women. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, it fucked me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for.
Yep, and then he goes on to say that they're targeting our kids. First off, Jim, what happened to Disney? Disney has been going woke. We saw the battle with Governor DeSantis in Florida with Disney World. It started when they started bringing in these characters, and then even the simple greeting when you walk into Disney World, everyone knows when you walk in and they say, welcome boys and girls. They took boys and girls out because they went woke. They didn't want to say boys and girls because I guess everyone's the same gender to them. What happened to our beloved Disney?
Oh, I just think it's crazy, and in fact, I was just looking something up here. I grew up around Disney. My dad was really close to a former Imagineer, so we would go down to Disney quite a bit. I carry in my Bible this picture of my son. This was probably taken in '98, maybe, and just having a blast at Disney. Like, it was truly kid friendly until this century, and they've just gone off the deep end. They were kind of doing a little bit back then as well too. But what is so tragic about this? And I think Walt Disney would be turning in his grave. And I don't think Walt Disney was some big evangelical, advocate, Christ advocate, and that sort of thing. But he did understand how important bringing up kids in good moral teaching, proper family structure, proper societal structure, noting the weaknesses of certain people and doing that in a comedic fashion, showing that, and yet coming to resolution to something good. That was really the characteristic of Walt Disney for so long in all their programming. They, like many other companies, got taken over by woke, and their desire is to inject false narratives into culture. Think about this for a second. Snoop Dogg. I mean, we're just talking about a guy sexually lascivious in his music and language, dope smoker, like he's a weed smoker. He's very open about that. All these sorts of things that are really into the most the fringes of culture. He exemplifies. And yet here he is as a grandfather having to deal with his grandchild, wondering, how do two women have a baby? That can't happen. I mean, just speaking out the obvious, which also Snoop Dogg assents to. And so it's really interesting. Here's this really anti-Trump guy at one time coming back around and recognizing what's taking place in culture and addressing it. And to his credit, he's willing to address it in a very direct way. You know, he's taking a lot of heat for this. But, you know, he's the kind of guy that doesn't sit around and ask people what they think about him. And I think that he's nailed the problem. He surely exemplifies what the heart of the problem is. And parents around the country for years now have been having their children ask the same questions and having exactly the same response. It's really time that we get into the culture as people of faith, people of seriousness, and say, we're not having any more of it. Just like the flag burning. We don't have to throw people in jail necessarily, but we ought to tell them to stop it culturally. And we need that kind of shame in culture again. And interestingly, Snoop Dogg is setting the example right here.
He absolutely is. And to what you were saying earlier, yes, Snoop Dogg was all of those things. However, he didn't target innocent children. He targeted his base, which was right, adults and high schoolers or college kids or whatever, people of age, I should say. And so that was his base, and he did well at what he did. And he's a beloved, favorite all-time rapper for many people. But we're running out of time, Jim. Real quick, when someone like him comes out and says something like this, I see it as a win because I believe it helps the conservative base because he has so many fans and so many followers. And so, you know, you look at today, all the Swifties are celebrating because Taylor Swift got engaged. You notice that's not one of my top headlines today. However, but the Swifties love Taylor Swift. The rappers, upcoming rappers, the people that love that genre of music love Snoop Dogg. So when he comes out and says, whoa, you know, they're targeting our kids, they're targeting our grandkids, Disney's gone woke, I just feel it helps our base.
Well, and everyone in our base should be certain to continue to push and press these issues in the culture, because it is guys like Snoop Dogg that will go out to the fringes of culture in his entertainment work that are still influenced by what we all as Americans produce. The benefit of shame in culture is it affects everybody. I'm not talking necessarily about the shame that just always and in every way is judging and putting someone in their place. I think shame says, hey, listen, maybe you have that child out of wedlock and we want to support you. But seriously, girl, why are you doing that? Why are you sleeping around and having kids? And you that's the kind of shame that we need to have in every aspect of culture. And then you influence people like Snoop Dogg who might not otherwise come there, or maybe this really is coming from him. But there would be others like him where it might not naturally come out. And we can influence them as well. But you have to be firm in your convictions and direct in your response to that which is untruthful and relativistic in culture. We need certainty and clarity and truth. We have to assert it in every way, politically, culturally, everywhere.
You're absolutely right. All right, Jim, always a pleasure to have you on. For people wanting to know more about the Conservative Caucus, you have a website. Tell us about it.
Yeah, go to theconservativecaucus.com and get on our email list. Anyone that can support us, we'd love to have you. We're going to have a really cool announcement about a golf tournament in Nashville with some big names. We'll have it up there. And as always, we appreciate you checking out what we're doing. You can find out our podcast information and other things right there. Theconservativecaucus.com.
All right. Perfect. Sounds good. Jim Paff, always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks so much for being here with us today.
Thanks, Vanessa. Good to see you.
And when we come back, COVID vaccines could soon be stripped from the market. What we're uncovering next. And as we head to break, a reminder to follow us on social media. Vocal, as you know, is Mike Lindell's social media platform. I'm there at Vanessa B News. Go ahead and sign up and give me a follow. You can also follow and subscribe to all other platforms on your screen. I'm on all of those accounts, so is Lindell TV. That's where we're always posting breaking news updates. We'll be right back.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now. With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com. Swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer.
We're following reports that the Trump administration is preparing to pull the COVID vaccine off U.S. markets, and it could happen by the end of the year. We're told President Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are committed to that decision, and so we'll continue to follow this, gather more information, and bring you the latest when we receive that. Now to Big Pharma's role in pediatrics. Let's go back to our Allison Steinberg with more on this report.
New evidence shows the American Academy of Pediatrics is pocketing massive donations from the very companies that profit off of vaccines. Pfizer, Moderna, Merck, and Sanofi. Each one drops at least $50 grand a year to be in the AAP's exclusive presidential circle. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. blasted the group, saying these 4 companies make virtually every vaccine on the CDC recommended childhood vaccine schedule. AAP is angry that the CDC has eliminated corporate influence. He went further, saying the group has a pay-to-play scheme to promote commercial ambitions of AAP's big pharma benefactors and demand that they disclose conflicts of interest so that Americans may ask whether the AAP's recommendations reflect public health interests. And here's the kicker. Even after the CDC backed away from universal COVID shots for toddlers, the AAP doubled down and is still urging vaccines for babies 6 months and older. That looks less like science and more like loyalty to donors. And even worse, it puts infants at serious risk. At the same time, disturbing reports of turbo cancer are piling up. Fast, aggressive cases appearing in younger, otherwise healthy patients soon after vaccination. Doctors say these aren't normal cancers. They're explosive, resistant, and deadly. Internist, cardiologist, and epidemiologist Dr. Peter McCullough, the foremost expert on the deadly COVID shots, explains the exact mechanisms that could lead to cancer in the body or even promote existing cancer cells.
The messenger RNA itself can impair DNA repair, so it can actually begin to tip the scale towards cancer promotion in cells. The spike protein, the S2 segment, which one actually gets from the vaccine and not from the infection, the S2 segment in a paper by Singh and Singh from University of Pittsburgh appears to inhibit the P53 and BRCA tumor suppressor systems. Our natural tumor surveillance systems are impaired. And if one has a loss of function mutation in either one of these, a woman would recognize this as, quote, being BRCA positive. That would be a loss of function mutation in this surveillance system. That could predispose somebody to cancer, particularly breast and female reproductive cancers.
And now to add more fuel to the fire, it has been revealed that chemotherapy, the so-called front line of cancer care, may actually be waking up dormant cancer cells and causing them to spread. A shocking new study published in Cancer Cell last month showed that this is done by inducing neutrophil extracellular traps. This can actually injure healthy tissue, spark inflammation, and reignite tumors with a vengeance. Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, a pioneering surgeon and scientist, went on Dr. Drew's podcast to explain how the very treatment meant to kill cancer also annihilates the only cell that can actually protect you from it.
When you get chemotherapy, the first thing it wipes out is your red blood cells. You have anemia. And there's a drug for that called Epogen. The second thing it wipes out is cells called neutrophils that prevent infection, and there's a drug for that called Neupogen. But the most important thing it wipes out is a drug is your NK and T cells, and that's called lymphocytes. It turns out the only thing that protects your body against cancer is your lymphocytes, meaning the NK cells and T cells. Right. We now know that anybody getting chemotherapy, anybody getting radiation, within a day or two, you wipe out the only cells that matter.
So let's connect the dots here. Pediatric leaders bankrolled by vaccine manufacturers, COVID shots linked to turbo cancer, and standard treatments like chemotherapy, possibly making things worse. The question parents and patients have to now ask is simple. Who's the system really built to protect? Because from where it stands, it's certainly not you, and it most certainly is not our children.
All right, well, it looks like a scene from a scary movie out in Arizona, that is. Video that makes you want to sneeze by just looking at it. We'll take you to this dust storm taking over the city when we come back here on Spin Room. Stay with us.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever, and in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts, and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
Taking a look now at how Wall Street closed out the day, looking at MarketWatch.com. The Dow closing the day up 135 points, the S&P 500 up 26 points, and the NASDAQ up 94 points. A good rebound from yesterday. Now to our Busted segment. In our Busted segment today, we're going to look at what the Coast Guard has been up to. They have been busy protecting our homeland. Huge bust to report today. The Coast Guard surging, stopping cartels and criminals, all the investigations they have going on. Since launching Operation Pacific Viper, the Coast Guard reports seizing over 13,000 pounds of cocaine and arresting 11 suspected drug smugglers. That's just since this operation began. So they are out in the waters as we speak, protecting the good old United States of America. Take a look at this very eerie footage coming out of Arizona. A dust storm in Phoenix. That's a massive wall of dust sweeping across the metro, turning skies an ominous brown, reducing visibility. The storm moved in quickly with winds topping 50 miles per hour, creating dangerous driving conditions. Look at that. Dust storm warnings urging drivers to use caution. They say these dust storms are just as bad, if not worse, than a heavy rainstorm for visibility. There were some power outages reported, downed trees, blowing debris. This is the first major dust storm of the season. And can you imagine that coming towards you? Watch your allergies also. Dust storms can cause respiratory issues. And again, that's out in Arizona. All right, now to today's Bible verse of the day. And it says this, if we have that to pull up, it says, Jesus said, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. That's coming from the book of Matthew. As we start to close out the show, always a reminder to go shop at mypillow.com. You can go shopping right now. Huge sales going on. And we'll give you a little extra boost while you shop for My Comfy that you see there, or one of those great pillows. Use the promo code Vanessa for extra savings. Again, Vanessa for extra savings. You can also go to mystore.com, USA products made by conservative entrepreneurs who have been chosen by Mike to go onto his website, mystore.com, and then give them a little business as well. They are great entrepreneurs. Everything is made in the USA. So we want to make sure that we keep it that way and support not only Mike and My Pillow, but also all of the people who have a product on mystore.com. And to get to that, there's also a link on mypillow.com. So you can get to both at one click and then enjoy your shopping. All right. Also, a reminder that you can send all story ideas to us here at Lindell TV. You can send breaking news. We'll take those from your state, your hometown, whatever is going on. Any story ideas, let us know about it. You can also add us to your press release chain, or if you send out newsletters, we'll take those as well. All you have to do is add in news at lindelltv.com. It's a fairly new email address that we just started, a breaking news desk that we started here at Lindell TV as we continue to grow, thanks to all of you. We've already received great feedback, lots of good stories there. So again, news tips and ideas can go straight to us at news@lindelltv.com. And that'll do it for us here today on Spin Room. We'll see you right back here, same time, same place tomorrow. In the meantime, Steve Bannon's War Room is next. I'm Vanessa Broussard, and you're watching Lindell TV.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior